It's rough.
Ho, ho, ho!
God, don't put that in.
You're screwed. You know you're screwed. What's up, fam? Good day. Let's say good morning, but it's midnight.
I'd say morning.
Yeah.
1 a.m.
Okay. Welcome to today's video.
I thought you were gonna say welcome to our bedroom.
That's true too. We're here for an explanation of some things that have been going on in our life. Not an explanation, that's not the right word. Just like a
Story time.
we're here to talk about.
Like story time.
Yeah, like a story time. There's a lot of life-changing things going on in our life right now. There's just like a lot hitting us in our life right now. And I wanted to sit down and do a video and just like let you guys know kind of what's going on and why things are going on. If you saw yesterday's video, we're moving. We're moving. I never thought that this day would come. Where do I start? Where do we start? I'm not really sure where to start with this video because there's not really like a starting point. Like there's just a lot of stuff that has been like hitting us, like boom, boom, boom. Not even us, just like our family in general. I think the last few years of my life, I at least got to a point where I was so comfortable with where we were at. Like we bought this house, we completely renovated this house, and I am in love with this house. Like I fell in love with this house. I've said, we've said this on camera so many times. Like I was like, this is our forever home. This is where we're staying. And he's like, I don't know about that. And I just have to say, it's not that he makes the decisions around here, but there were some things that have come up in our life that made us, you know, reevaluate exactly, and kind of reflect, at least for me. So I don't know if this video is gonna make sense, but I'm just gonna talk to you guys like you're my friends. So
we're venting.
We're not venting though. You guys are probably thinking like, okay, you're buying a new house. Like, okay, who cares? Why is it that big of a deal? It's like not that big of a deal, right? It's not that we're just buying a new house. We're like leaving our town altogether. We're moving. We're not just like changing houses because this house got too small. We're actually picking up and we're moving locations. We're moving our kids away from their school, away from their life here, away from our life here, and we're moving. Just to clarify, we are still staying in California, so it's not like we're picking up and moving across the country. In fact, like so many people do that. And so maybe this is like not a big deal to a lot of people, but to me personally, because you've moved far in your life.
Yeah.
I've stayed here in this town with all of my, like my whole family was here. Like we all started here. This is where we all grew up. So I've lived in this town for almost my whole life. Like I grew up here, I went to school here, I went to college here. You know, this is where my life started. I had my kids here. I thought I was gonna stay here forever. That being said, I've never really been in love with this place. Growing up here, I didn't really see anything wrong with this place. And it's not that there is some major things wrong with it, but in the last several years, since I've become an adult myself and I like had kids and I am raising them and they're in the school system here and stuff, I realized that I wasn't really in love with this place. I was only here for my family. I'm gonna be completely honest. Like the only reason I am still here is because my family is here, and my family is everything to me. As a lot of you guys know, when we bought this house, one of the reasons why we bought this house is because it's super close to my mom and it's super close to my grandma, two of the closest people in my life. So I have like my dad's family is all here, and then my mom, and then my Grammy. Like those are my people right there. And it was important to me to stay close to everybody. And it was important for me to have like, you know, my kids around them. So when we bought this house, I was in love with this house. I mean, I think we made it a beautiful home. I love that it was so close to my kids' school. But in these last, you know, since we bought this house, really, I don't know if our town just got worse or if I just noticed it more. We're in a very good part of our city. We live in a very, you know, good part of town. It's not the best, like there's probably better areas, but we live in a very good part of our town.
It's like between like
upper middle class, I'd say.
Beverly Hills and being run down. We're like in the middle.
That was a huge, we're not like, ooh, rich fancy houses, but we live in a nice area. There's a lot of things that have went on in our life that we have not talked about because I didn't really feel comfortable putting it out there, especially like as it was happening. And I wouldn't say that it's direct safety issues with us, but it's our area in general. Recently, in the past few years, especially since we bought this home, in all kinds of articles and stuff, how our city is one of the worst cities to live in in the United States. It's pretty bad. It's turning into just a really
kind of rundown
area. It just got worse, or maybe I was just oblivious. I was too busy having babies. I don't know. But there's been a few things that went on like in our neighborhood and just around us. There's this, and I don't even want to say this because I don't want to like speak it into existence. There's a lot of drug problems in our city. There's a lot of shootings in our city. There's a lot of, you guys saw like
theft
on Halloween how the kids' school was on lockdown, and it just happens all the time. And actually when I posted that video and I got so much feedback from people talking about like, what, you guys have lockdowns? Like serious lockdowns, it really made me realize like this really isn't normal. And it really made me reflect and think about, you know, why am I here? And the only reason why we're still here is because of our family. That being said, all of the stuff going on, it wasn't enough for me to just be like, let's move. Okay, we're just gonna up and move. We're just gonna go somewhere else. It's really not that easy. For me personally, it's like my mom. Like my mom is here and she is like, I'm not going nowhere without her.
And I don't have anybody, so. Okay.
That's sad. Another factor that played into it though, but again, it wasn't enough to like make me realize like, we should really move. We're outgrowing this house quicker than I thought that we were going to. Obviously having 7 kids and a 4-bedroom house, you know, we've made it work. Like I feel like we made it work. If we had to live here and continuously live here, we would make it work. We would add on to it or do whatever we needed to it. So I think that's why it wasn't a big deal to me, is because right now everything works. The kids sleep in the same bed anyway. So for me, like the kids having their own space right now wasn't a big deal. The kitchen is like really small, but let's be honest, I don't really cook that much. So considering the size of our house and the fact that there are 7/9 of us here all the time, it really just, we are outgrowing it quicker than we thought that we would, which like I said, I didn't think it was a big deal. Like I
made it work though really well.
No, it is, and I feel like it could work. If all of the circumstances weren't what they were, then I would stay here. I love this place. Right. I love the area minus the crime and the drugs and, you know, stuff like that.
All the illegal stuff.
So all of these factors played a role in my mind kind of like ticking. He's been ready to move forever. Like I just think it doesn't affect him as much, obviously, because he doesn't have family here. His dad passed away. His mom, why don't you say that?
Gone. I don't know. I don't know what she is. I don't know. That's a whole different video. It's a whole different story time.
I'm supposed to do your Draw My Life now that we hit 1 million, by the way.
I am.
I'm gonna do that right now after this video. Don't make any more promises because you're not good at keeping them. You may or may not have noticed that in a lot of my videos recently, I've been talking about how a lot of my family who I grew up with moved away. Specifically my cousin, who was like a sister to me growing up, and other people in my family have slowly started migrating away from this area. But for me, it was like my mom and my Grammy, and then obviously like my dad's family too. But those 2 people were the main, you guys know, like if you watch my video for years, you know, like Grammy and my mom and my dad, they are the reason that I'm here, let's be honest. I mentioned this in a video a few days ago where I started talking about it, but I didn't elaborate on it.
Kind of flash back a little bit, like remind them like what it just, you know, I mentioned previously that we had some like family things going on.
This is so uncomfortable to talk about.
I know.
I never thought I'd feel uncomfortable making a video. I talked about a few videos ago how there's some stuff going on in our family. So all of those things are just kind of like a backstory to what's going on. It doesn't really matter, you know, too much. They're just things that we've thought about in the past. I don't feel like I need to explain any of that stuff. I'm just kind of giving you guys a background on kind of what's going on and all of the factors playing into this. But the thing that did matter is kind of the reason, one of the bigger reasons why we decided to, you know, like completely change our lifestyle. We have been really lucky in our family to have, you know, really good health. We've always been, I don't want to say always, we've all had our problems, but I actually talked about this in a video lately. I talked about how we're really, you know, trying to stay on top of our health right now. And on top of that, now we're moving. The reason really, not the reason why we're moving, but
a really big part.
I had a really big epiphany about life. About a month ago, my Grammy was diagnosed with cancer. And I'm not really going to elaborate on that too much. You know, it's kind of personal. I don't know.
Yeah, you don't want to go too deep with that. And
it really kind of hit me like a brick in a way, because I think I mean, I honestly feel like I kind of lived in this la-la land of everything's always going to be the way that it is. And it just made me realize that it's not.
Yeah, life can change really fast, and it can change Like, I mean, you can go from just driving around and living your day-to-day to finding out, you know, one of your loved ones, you know, is in a really bad spot.
Now you're making me cry. I wasn't expecting to cry. Whew.
It's rough. I remember with my dad, it just, we went from me and my dad driving down to LA every weekend to go visit Caden and Tommy to, he would only come every other weekend because he had to go to chemo, or he came once a month because he was in the hospital, and then it became every other month, and then pretty soon it was none at all, and I had to just start bringing Caden and Tommy to him, and then he couldn't even see Caden and Tommy because if they even had like the slightest cold or anything, he would be in a hospital. So it's really difficult to like take all that in.
That was good. That was deep.
That was deep. I wasn't expecting that.
I need a drink of water. When I feel like I'm gonna cry, I drink water. It's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's not fine, but it's okay. But it hit me in a personal way because, like I said, I just always thought everything was gonna stay the way that it was, and obviously that's not the reality of it because, you know, people grow older. We're all gonna freaking die one day. I might die tomorrow. Obviously things change when you get sick or people in your life get sick, and so she is, you know, she's moving, and she's moving in with my aunt, which is so awesome. She's super awesome. I just had an epiphany about, you know, a lot of things, honestly, but this thing in particular, what we're talking about right now, I'm just gonna keep on topic with the moving thing, is that I realized that I'm here where I'm at in a town that I don't love, raising my kids in a place that might not be the best for them. I just realized that everybody that is around you and everybody that you're here for and everybody that is here for you is not necessarily going to be around forever. This is why everything is sort of connected to itself, is because I'm kind of realizing, like, everything's kind of hitting me all at once. But we could get to a point where I raise my kids are teenagers, my kids are adults, and they have their own lives here now, and now we're all stuck here where I don't think it is the best place to be raising our kids. So I just realized that I need to go. We need to go. We need to get out of here. We need to move for our family before our kids get too attached to, you know, the people around them and the things that they do here. Our kids are still so young. I think now's the time. I'm working on some of my family, you know, to move your family, to try to get everybody that you love in your life to move away from the place they grew up. Is not realistic and it's not easy, but I am trying to obviously get like my mom to leave. I'm really hoping that she'll come with us. I just realized that we need to do what's best for our family. We're not going so far away that we're never going to be able to be around our family that is here, but we're going far enough away to be in a better place and to be around a place where a lot of our other loved ones are moving to where my Grammy's moving, to where my aunt already lives, to where my cousin, who's basically my sister growing up, where she lives. Like, we're going to a better place. There's
a lot of family here, but also where we're going, there's also a lot of family.
This is also where most of Lilia's family is, like all of Gabe. The only one that's gonna be left here is Gabe, and that's a thing too I'm trying to get into. It's one of those things where it's like, we just have to do what's best for us, and it's gonna be a positive thing. It's just, it's hard for us. I don't wanna make this like a super sappy, sad thing, because we're super excited, but it's just a really big change for us. Considering the circumstances, it's just a lot of life changes happening, like boom, 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 all at once. Things are changing, and it made me realize that things aren't always gonna be the same. We're really stepping out of our comfort zone to like pick up with our whole family and go somewhere. I do wanna touch base on Tommy and Kaden too, because I know a lot of people are gonna say, well, what about Caden and Tommy?
Tommy and Kaden was actually a really big part of this decision as well, because as you guys know, I drive. When I go to pick them up, it's about 6 hours one way. And sometimes I go all the way down and back up in one day. So that can be anywhere between 12 and like 16 hours of driving, depending on traffic, or, you know, if I have to wait for them to get out of school. With that being said, recently me and their mom decided that we were going to start flying Caden and Tommy from both of our houses, just purely out of time.
Comfort for them.
Comfort, time. It's what, 40 minutes.
It's a 45-minute flight. Like, it's super quick.
I mean,
and
less than an hour.
Caden's done it before, and Tommy wants to. He's asking to do it. He's wanting to do it.
They're excited.
Yeah, but we're really far from it. We're not really far from an airport, but we're an hour and a half away from any airport that's near us, which makes it almost not worth it because they have to drive to the airport, fly to the airport, drive back here. The travel time is the same.
So with all of that being said, where we're moving in the area that we're looking to buy is actually super close to an airport where they would be able to fly into.
Which is what they are already, like, they were already planning on doing. So that has it's just happening it's just all weirdly working out.
Kind of just
like that was already a discussion, and then there was like, we already talked about this area, and we already talked about this, and then the thing with Grammy happened, and then with Tommy and Kaden, and on top of that, Tommy and Kaden don't have their own bedroom here. We kind of need a bigger house. Like, all of these things are just kind of like, whoof, hitting us all at once, which is why we decided to leave.
Well, I mean, and it's like, all that stuff was kind of in the back of our heads. I don't know, just recently when things started coming up, it was like, this is now a bigger priority. This is a bigger priority.
I've always said since day one that everything happens for a reason, and I truly feel like if this is meant to be, it's gonna work itself out. You know, we don't have any set plans right this second time-wise. We're not going to move before summer. We're not sure if we're going to build or buy yet, but we are exploring both options, one more than the other. We are definitely planning on filming the entire process of everything, of home buying or building if we decide to go that route. We're just kind of trying to see like what our options are and trying to make the best decision. And then I so feel like if something's meant to be, it's meant to be. And if it's, you know, if it doesn't work out and we end up staying here, then it wasn't meant to be. But truly, we are 99.99999 that we're moving, and we're going to be moving in the summer of next year. The only reason being, we don't want to pull our kids out of school mid-school, mid-school year. They have their dance team here. They have a bunch of things that are going on here, and I don't want to be, you know, that parent that's
pulling them out
in the middle of school. Not that there's anything wrong with that if you need to, but it's not. We don't have a time constraint really. So the summer is when we're looking to move our entire life away from here. So I hope this kind of makes sense for you guys. If you guys have any questions, you can go ahead and comment on my last Instagram post, and maybe I'll do a Q&A. I don't know if I hit all these points. I feel like this was a lot to say. I didn't realize that it'd be so hard to say.
A rough one.
It was a rough video. Yeah, we've had a hard time sitting here trying to say what we needed to say. It's hard to like vocalize it. You just see the edited version. It hasn't been so smooth. But if you guys have any questions, feel free to comment on my last Instagram post and let me know what those are, and maybe we'll do a sit-down Q&A at some point. But that's it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your night, and the vlogs will continue tomorrow. Good night.